hello, and welcome to the show. This week's FailRace versus the community. We were to go racing with cars from 2015. These are the vehicles that Forza reckons were from 2015. Our first race was at the Road Atlanta full circuit. Things were relatively calm through the first corner, which is unusual. Unfortunately, it wouldn't last by the time we got to the top of the hill. The Jaguar that we are following at the moment was narrowly avoiding some chaos, as so many cars were trying to fit in a rather small piece of tarmac. I had done well after a very sluggish start from my Lexus. You see me up ahead. I had done well to kind of sneak up the inside of everything through the first couple of corners. This Jaguar, a little bit slow off the turn, was going to allow not one but almost two Mercedes to outdrag it as they come down the back straight. But once the Jaguar does get up to speed, he could fend off the Merc, but lock the brakes up a little bit, ran a tad too wide. That's going to put a Mercedes past, and then an Audi is going to join in the fun as well up the inside as they now head on to the really rather long straight. And it is a seriously long straight here at Road Atlanta, so having that little bit more straight line speed was quite useful to the Jag in this instant. Despite the Audi having got past him in that four-wheel drive TT, getting good traction off the turn, the Jaguar would go soaring past it, and would another Jaguar further back as well at the front, and another Jag would get himself into the lead with a Tesla that was struggling with some understeer. As then my turn to have a look, try and find a way past said Tesla, and sure enough, it ran a little bit too wide coming down the hill. That gave me the opportunity to draw up alongside him, and it was all the way around the outside. I wasn't quite sure that maneuver was particularly going to work, but I managed to get the move done. I was then on the inside for the next corner. Took a little bit of a shallower line, and that Tesla, of course, being four-wheel drive, gets a fantastic launch off the corner, so he can fire the car up the inside into the next turn. I fight it around the outside. The Lexus, I was really pleased with this Lexus. I thought it was a really good car. Really good car. It's a good balance of straight line speed, as you can see here. The Tesla certainly wasn't dropping it, and once the kind of the four-wheel drive, the acceleration is lost from the Tesla, I do have better straight line speed than it. So by the time that we come towards the chicane, we would have my Lexus in front, and then there was a big train of cars behind you. Just had to be aware that that four-wheel drive Tesla, and of course being electric as well, having all of that torque immediately, you had to be a little bit careful that it didn't fight back at you very, very quickly because of its acceleration. Further back, we found the Volvos. As much as I wanted to run a Volvo, as much as I wanted the Volvos to do well, they did struggle a little bit. In this one here, the S60 here getting just completely and utterly outdragged by an Audi TT after they left the final turn. Yeah, I tried to build a Volvo. It just wasn't quite as quick. It was a decent car. It just wasn't quite as quick as my Lexus. But yeah, the Volvos were down towards the back of the field. Sadly, the Tesla, having dropped to third, was quickly coming under pressure from a huge group of cars behind. There was a couple of Mercedes in there. I can't even remember. I think there was a Jaguar and a Camaro were all lining up to find a way past this Tesla. Tesla gets stuck on the outside as they come down towards the main straight. But even with running a wheel over the curve, I think you might even have the wheels on the grass. Four-wheel drive, the acceleration off of that corner was enough to keep him alongside and get back past the gold Mercedes, but he would run out of slight top speed about halfway down the straight. Then the Mercedes is come flying back past again down towards the chicane. The Jaguar has come from quite a long way back. That Jag had a huge amount of speed in it to right up to the back of the group. The Mercedes kind of managed to screw each other over fighting into the chicane, and that slows everybody down through that particular corner as you run up to this very, very fast final turn. It's a nasty, nasty corner with these cars. Kind of a little dab on the brakes. It's certainly not flat out, just that little dab on the brakes to make sure you get the vehicles around them safely. The Jags trying to go to the outside of the Tesla, thinks better of it as the Tesla understeers. Camaro gets up the inside of the pair of them, almost gets two positions in one go. The Model S, though, would fall to the back of this group as the Camaro continues to fight with the Jaguar. Yeah, I think perhaps the weight of the Model S was not helping it around this particular track. The XFRS was incredibly fast in a straight line. This car, it was really very, very quick down these straights. It wasn't long before he was catching up to the back of the Mercedes that were still fighting too wide into the chicane, using all of the road and perhaps a little bit more down there. The Jag's trying to get to the inside. There's just not quite space. We get a very close-up look at the back of the Merc. We run around the final corner. It's side by side up ahead. They do touch ever so slightly. They're both slow off the corner from going side by side through there. That puts the Jag to the front of this group into third. The Camaro fires himself up the inside. Would move into fourth. The Mercedes are still bumping one another, with one of them ending up off the track. A Hellcat has joined in the fun as he tries to go around the outside of the Mercedes. The Camaro gets a fantastic run coming down the hill. That puts him up the inside of the Jag. Camaro would move himself up into third place, although the Chevy was very, very good through the corners, did not quite have the straight line speed of the Jag, and both the Mercedes going for the slightly too wider rallycross line through there. The Hellcat would get involved in the middle of all of this as well. Another very, very fast car in a straight line. Interestingly, not as quick as the Jag. The Jag was actually the quickest of this lot when it came to going down the straight. But yeah, sure enough, you can imagine the Hellcat would be very, very fast down here as we're coming towards the chicane. He can draw up alongside the Camaro, but he's got to brake earlier than the Chevy. The Chevy can carry a lot of corner speed. The Hellcat gets brayed. Camaro runs a little bit on the grass, slows him down ever so slightly, and the Dodge uses all of the power as they come over the hill. That'll put the Dodge just about ahead. The Camaro does a good job of giving the Hellcat just about enough space. That would be quite a scary thing, to be stuck on the outside in a Hellcat around that final corner. It is a tough corner at the best of times, let alone with cars like these ones at the front. And it was one of the XKRS GTs that would go on to take victory. We've got some magic levitating tyres. The joys of Forza replays going on there. This guy got to the lead on about the second lap and drove away. I could set just about similar lap times. I made a couple of mistakes and also wasted a bit of time fighting with the Tesla, yeah, was just a little too far back to really do anything with my Lexus. So yeah, it'd be the Jag that would take victory. My Lexus come home in second, with the XFRS coming in third. Our second race of the day would go to the Bugatti circuit, a track I don't particularly enjoy driving around the track, but it is a circuit that we haven't used for a while, so I thought I would include this one. It was getting quite busy down towards this first sort of corner section. It's very, very fast. It's barely a dab on the brakes for some of the more handling-orientated cars. Through there is incredibly challenging. We got so many cars all clustered together. Sure enough, there was a little bit of bumping here and there. As the next corner, though, where things went a little bit more wrong between a Jaguar and a Camaro, and it kind of just backed the entire field up. A few cars managing to escape when I had to take avoiding action onto the grass on the inside. It was a little bit of a messy start. This Mustang managing to make one of the best getaways, avoiding the chaos and managing to find himself a little bit more in the clear than some of the rest of us. Yeah, quite a hectic opening up, but actually quite a hectic sort of start to the race in general. This Jag, again, these things were proving to be mighty, mighty quick in a straight line, breezing past an Audi TT, one of the Mercedes as well, up towards this first corner, making sure to get it right through there. The curbs can be really quite nasty around here as well, but the Jag is ahead. The Mercedes can't quite get it stopped in the background. Yeah, that straight line speed of these things, I didn't realise just how ridiculously fast they actually were towards the front, and it was two Mustangs that were fighting over what was now second place. The purple car having a go, trying to get to the inside. Couldn't quite do it on the first part. The turquoise car, though, gets a big oversteering moment as he changes direction, and that's as an easy invitation for the vehicle behind just to have a dive up the inside. Purple car makes the move relatively easy. Another Mustang that was finding himself in the mid-pack, fighting with a Subaru. Much like the Volvos, the Subarus, there weren't a huge number of Subarus, and they weren't the quickest cars. Again, they were more handling orientated. This one here is hugging the inside around this very, very long corner. The Mustang, though, brave enough to keep it alongside. The problem is that while they were decent handling vehicles, as soon as they got to a straight, cars like the Mustang would absolutely annihilate them. They were really struggling for some straight line speed. Still, they go side by side. The Subaru makes the move stick around the outside, but is immediately passed almost by the Mustang down towards towards the hairpin. The Ford getting to the inside. Still, the Subaru is trying to hold it, and you can keep it alongside. You can get it out of the corner alongside, but is no match for the acceleration of the Mustang. There was a big scrap going on over 4th place. Kind of the front three kind of vanished off. The pack further back did start to break up towards the end of the race. This was the biggest group of cars on the track. It was the fight between the two Lexuses at the front, of Volvo that were struggling for straight line speed, and Nissan that was a little bit of a handful through the corners. I had held 4th for a while, made a mistake and dropped back into this little battle. I had a big go at the first corner, managed to get my car alongside, got to the outside as we came through the chicane, and I had the acceleration to get my vehicle ahead as we run through this next long corner. I really don't like this turn. It's a really fiddly turn to try and get right, as the Nissan is going very sideways across the curbs. In the background, you don't want to run across the curbs. They are really very, very nasty. Still, two Lexuses were fighting, and the more we fought like this, the closer the Volvo could get. Of course, with the Volvo being very, very good through these corners, we had the acceleration. I didn't mind too much about the purple car getting the cut back there. I knew that even if he did, he'd still be forced to go around the outside into the next corner, and that's not really a corner where you want to be stuck on the outside. The curb around there is horrendous as well. And sure enough, the purple Lexus stuck a wheel across that curb. That'll spit you sideways, which is not what you want the car to be doing. That allows the Volvo to again, it's just closing up. He's still around there looking. The Lexus is still trying to find a way past. The Volvo's got that really good drive. I was going a little bit defensive at this point, as I knew we were coming towards the end of the race. Didn't want to lose the position. Once again, Volvo has a big dive up the inside, but then you're stuck on the outside for this next corner. The Nissans always sat there ready and waiting just in case something would happen through this part of the lap. For me, quite advantageously, as the cars behind 4, I could just build a little bit of a margin as I came onto the final lap. The Lexus would manage to keep holding his position ahead of that Volvo. At the front, it came down to the final lap between an Audi S1 and a Ford Mustang. The Mustang very, very quick. Around it was like stupidly quick lap times were being set by that Mustang, but he was trying to find a way past this S1 and only had a few more opportunities to do so. Of course, the Audi, being very small, very light, and 4-wheel drive, can get out of the corners very, very quickly as they run around the hairpin. The Audi has got great acceleration to get the car out and keep it alongside the Ford, but the Ford has the straight line speed as we run down towards this back chicane. I don't like this corner either. This is a bit of a nasty bugger. The Audi keeps it alongside, goes around the outside of the first part of the corner to keep hold of the lead. The cars are brushing together. It's actually quite easy to get cars kind of locked together when you're sort of just scraping slightly along like that. They managed to get away with it though, which is always helpful. The Mustang's now around the outside. The Audi's trying his very best to get that lead back. Can't quite do it as they run up towards the final corner. It looks like the Mustang's got it all under control, but he runs wide as across the curves. Car gets slowed down a bit. The Audi has half a chance, and while it's got good acceleration, it's not quite enough to do anything about the Mustang. The Mustang would take a victory from the Audi, with another Mustang in 3rd place. Definitely the Fords were a pretty damn good choice of car for running around here. Our third and final race would go to the Yas Marina North Circuit at night. This track, first corner can often be, again, it can be quite a chaotic corner. It's relatively wide, so you often get lots of cars going 3 and 4 and far too many vehicles into the same piece of tarmac, basically. On the most part, though, again, we did get away fairly well with going through that first corner. The Lexus that we're following at the moment was fighting with one of the Infinitis. A Lexus going around the outside. It's quite bumpy out there as the cones go fly. They were never going to last more than the first lap around there. Lexus now on the inside for this very narrow chicane. Again, everybody plows down in towards the chicane, 2 and 3 wide, pretty much solidly throughout the field. A few cars having to take to the escape roads. Again, everything just tightens up through here. Mercedes gets bumped a little bit sideways, but everybody makes it through on the most part, surviving in one piece. Then we have this really very, very long back straight to the Yas Marina circuit. The Infiniti here just losing out on that straight line speed. The Lexus catching up to the back of a Jaguar F-Type as well, as you're going to come under braking now for what is a really rather tight hairpin. So you've got to make sure you can get your braking point right. The Jaguar goes for a dive on the Mercedes and he can't quite stop. The Lexus pass. Lexus has now got a Volvo to tangle with, and the Infinity's right in there as well. It was further back, certainly quite chaotic in this race. While at the front we were already, got some decent space between us, and decent clean air around. This lot here were all still going too wide into corners. Mustang had a big dive into the chicane. He couldn't quite get his car stopped, and in doing so, the Volvo got past. The Mercedes tried to get back past, couldn't do it. The Volvo saw an opportunity to have a go up the inside of the Infinity. After that, had an issue with a curb. Got the pass done, although ran into a little wide on the exit. And then we see the same problems the Volvos had been having pretty much the entire thing. It just didn't have the straight line speeds to compete with these cars, as the Infinity goes straight back past. Now comes the Mustang as well. The Mustangs with a lot of straight line speed here was catching very, very quickly to the back of the Volvo. The Ford having a dive up the inside. You've got to make sure that he can get it stopped, and sure enough he does. The Volvo's got a lot of grip and will hold it around the outside. It will put him on the inside for the final corner. He gets the position back briefly. Mercedes is joining in the battle as well, but is no match for the Mustang's straight line speed, as again they run down towards turn 1. This time the Mustang's up the inside, and there's nothing the Volvo can do about it, and he's now got a Mercedes to be fighting with as well. Yeah, the poor S60s were struggling with their straight line speed, and speaking of struggles with their straight line speeds, I was leading the race with my Lexus, and I was being chased down by a Mustang that was really very quick. The Lexus was very, very good through the turns. I really like this RCF. It's actually a better A-Class car than I was perhaps expecting it to be. But I did not have the straight line speed of the Ford. I could just about hold my own. I could drive quickly enough through the corners to keep myself in a decent position to be far enough ahead by the end of the straight that the Ford would have a really tough time making a manoeuvre stick. So yeah, I could kind of, for a few laps, I was doing my best to fend off the Ford, because the Lexus was very, very good through the corners here, but that straight line speed of the Mustang was, yeah, it was a really rather fast car, and it was only a matter of time before it was going to find a way past, as we were again coming down this straight. In the end, I made a slight mistake trying to brake just that little bit too late, doing my very best to defend from the Mustang as we run towards the hairpin. Just couldn't quite get the Lexus stopped in time, as I then get stuck on the outside. The Ford would find a way past me. You can see how much the Lexus can close through these corners, but it's all for nothing when the Mustang can just drive away from me on the straights. And the Ford was good enough through the corners that I couldn't dominate it. I couldn't find a way past, and I couldn't make up enough time to compensate for my lack of speed again around that first turn, right back on the bumper of the Ford. But yeah, the Mustang just a little bit too quick. Further back, and again the mid-pack was many cars in in one big group, really. A Volvo was having a battle with a couple of the Jaguars, and Nissan is getting all sorts of out of shape in the background there. The Jags were having, again, lots and lots of straight line speed, having a little bit of trouble getting past this this pesky Volvo with great cornering grip. The Volvo here's around the outside and going to keep the position from the XK, but yeah, by the time they come to the long straights, the Jags have got so much more straight line speed that while the Volvo can fend off and can maybe even make up a little bit of time, it can certainly make up a bit of time through here and so on, that it just loses everything in the straights. A little bit of a shame for the S60. The Jag kind of ducks out, has a little bit of a look, trying to have a go up the inside in the chicane, but there's no point. As long as you're close, by the time you get to this hairpin, you can get the car alongside, and this time the Jags even bump one another, but there's so much speed in the XK that it'll breeze past the Volvo come the straights. There was a bit of a Lexus battle going on further down the order, coming up towards the hairpin. I think it was about 7th or 8th place these guys were arguing over. Straight line speed at this track was very, very important. While both of these cars were relatively good through the corners, the one not running aero had that little bit more of the straight line speed around here and could basically make overtakes relatively simple down this very, very long straight, provided you don't do anything stupid in the braking zone like I did. Getting overtakes done when you've got that bit more straight line speed is, really rather useful, and sure enough, the green car would find a way past, although you do still need a certain amount of grip, certainly through some of these faster corners. The red vehicle closes up a little bit through there, but it's just no match for the acceleration of the vehicle that he is trying to race against. They remained a relatively large pack for a lot of this race. I think it was even outside the top 10. These guys were squabbling over positions. Again, it's just the Volvos just didn't have the straight line speed. Even to fend off from one of the IDXs didn't have the straight line speed to do anything about this one, as the Nissan gets to the inside, down the long straight into the hairpin, but you've got to make sure you get the car stopped when you do that, and sure enough, the Nissan couldn't quite make the turn. The Volvo, with that four-wheel drive, with that much better grip, would get the cutback and keep his position ahead of the Nissans. But the poor Volvos with their lack of straight line speed were struggling at pretty much all of the tracks that we went to at the front, and it was to be the Ford Mustang that was to go on and take victory. I fended him off for a few laps, but there was only so much I could do against this car. So much straight line speed and good enough through the corners that I didn't really stand a chance. I would finish in second, though. There was another Mustang in third that was very quickly catching up to us while we were fighting. Again, a similar story. So much straight line speed in those Mustangs, and still well enough controllable around the turns to set very, very quick lap times. Not much my Lexus could do, but I did really much like the RCF. 2 seconds and a fourth is not too bad. It's a very, very good overall car. Very, very good overall car. A nicer vehicle to drive. I wasn't expecting it to be the vehicle I would use for this one, but it turned out to be a really, really quite a quick car. Just not quite as fast as those Mustangs. They were seriously, seriously impressive. Anyway, that is it for this week's Versus the Community. The next one shall be held on Thursday, the 14th of January. We're going to be racing B-Class front-wheel drive cars. If you would like to sign up and take part in that, then you can via our forums. There will be a link in the description. Find the FailRace Versus the Community section, and you can sign up in there. But that is it from me. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.